your forecast first with the KX Storm Team.
Well, good evening. Thank you for joining us for KX News. It's day 2 of a 3-day blizzard. Looking at the capital city, this is a live shot, and it's beautiful in Bismarck compared to other areas. This would be what it looks like in Minot right now. It is snowing and windy. It is awful in the north. Look at Watford City. Now, this is the first time I've been able to actually see the ground a little bit in a while. Here is the snow. So there's snow for a lot of us, and it's going to be here for the night. Several more inches still possible, but the heaviest is going to be in the north. But check out some of these wind gusts. 56 miles an hour recorded in Garrison, 51 in Minot. Now, I'm going to be back with some snow totals, what to expect tonight, and what to expect through the weekend, and it's all coming up.
Coming up next on KX News at 6, we continue bringing you live team coverage on the storm with a look at current conditions. And North Dakota is no stranger to April blizzards, so how does this one compare to the one of decades past? Plus, in need of a ride, how people across our region are helping people get to where they're going.
Putting North Dakota first. KX News at 6 starts now.
Good evening, I'm Brooke Williams. Thank you for watching KX News. Nicholas has the night off. Leading local tonight, reports show that yesterday Bismarck broke the daily record for most snowfall for April 12th. A total of 10 inches falling in the capital city yesterday. That beats the old record of 3 inches back in 1991. Many sheltering at home today on day 2 of this April blizzard, and we continue with our team coverage for you tonight. We'll be checking in with Alicia Huck a little later on in the show, but we begin this evening with Adrian Oglesby. Adrian, like many of us, you were sheltering at the station overnight. You're in the station parking lot now. Just how deep are those snowdrifts out there?
As you can see, it's pretty deep. I'm standing in the snow out here again, and it's pretty tough out here. Many people, of course, are staying home, but as essential workers, we know that we do not have that luxury, and a lot of others don't as well. I went on a ride along with Jacob Doctor today, who is actually helping members of the community get to and from work in the area.
Jacob Doctor feels it is his duty to give back to those who helped him during his time in recovery. Jacob says his reason behind assisting others is what pushes him through the snow, beyond having a big truck, of course.
So back in 2017, I overdosed from heroin and fentanyl, and I had the Bismarck Fire Department show up, the Bismarck Police show up, and they ended up bringing me to the hospital, giving me Narcan, essentially saving my life.
He explains that he has had many encounters with our different law enforcement agencies, and they have helped him tremendously.
They always showed me grace, never, got me in trouble, but showed me recovery.
He says he had to take a step back and look at what was happening around him before it was him.
I think seeing a lot of people who didn't come out of the addiction, I had a lot of friends die or go to prison for a long time. I think just seeing that made me really want to see my potential, and I knew I had potential. I just needed to get out of the addiction part.
Right now, Jacob cannot work his normal job due to the extreme weather conditions, so he decided to spend his free time helping others. He says all of his rides are free of charge.
I mean, they have all saved my life multiple times, so it's my way to give back, and I think it's the right thing to do, if someone's in need, without getting anything back.
Jacob says he has given many rides to medical essential workers and even some in law enforcement. Not only does he offer rides, but he will give you a pull if you get stuck, and maybe you'll get lucky and he could be there to save your life.
So there was a lady on Broadway that was on the ground, her tummy on the ground, and just laying there. So I ended up stopping to see what happened, and I think she fell, obviously, and her leg got hurt, so she couldn't get up.
Jacob says he pulled over, called 911, and emergency services came to help her. He says that he will continue offering his services until about midnight tonight and continue tomorrow morning, where he already has a list of people that need rides to work.
Jacob says giving from the kindness of your heart and going the extra mile for others is fulfilling. And he says as long as there's snow on the ground, he will be there to help. With weather like this, I guess we could all use a good Samaritan and a helping hand. Brooke, I'm going to go in there and get warm. I'm live in Bismarck. Adrian Oglesby.
Yes, Adrian, it's so great that we have people like that helping others around town. And for more information on how to contact Jacob for a ride, head to our website, kxnet.com. Cold temperatures may be keeping most off the roads, but first responders have to brave the storm and get their jobs done. Kiara Brown is live in Minot to tell us how Trinity Hospital is getting around in the snow. Kiara, how are you?
Brooke, the longer I'm out here, the more I realize how dangerous it would be driving around town right now. I spoke with the vice president of Trinity Hospital today, and he explained how they are getting to their destination safely in this storm. They are using a fleet of different vehicles. Ronald Schwanz told me they have four-wheel drive trucks, some that have plows on them, a UTV with tracks, and they even have snowmobiles to get around in the worst case scenario. These vehicles are said to be used for responding emergencies, but Schwanz said they are also used to pick nurses and doctors up from their homes to get to their shifts at the hospital.
A few volunteers, employees, family of employees, friends of Trinity who volunteered their snowmobiles and other vehicles to help, and we're going to call on them likely before this is over, including my own snowmobile.
Travel advisories are still in place. The best way to ensure your safety is to stay indoors and off the roads. The conditions are only getting worse. Reporting live for KX News in Minot, I'm Kiara Brown.
Thank you so much, Kiara, for that report. For those who don't have places to go, days like today can be extremely dangerous. As you heard Kiara mention right then, Ministry on the Margins opened their doors for people who need a safe place to stay during this blizzard. Ministry on the Margins has a coffee house and a food pantry that they've been using to supply people with their food needs for the next few days. Sister Kathleen Atkinson, director of Ministry on the Margins, says all are welcome to take shelter in the ministry, whether it's because you have nowhere to go or you just need a safe environment to be in. Sister Atkinson tells us what they're doing while they wait out this storm.
We have just finished binge watching Medea, and yesterday was Star Wars, and we took a big break and we played bingo.
We watched a few movies here last night as well. Sister Atkinson says the ministry opened late Sunday evening and will stay open until the storm passes for anyone who needs warmth during this winter storm. The National Weather Service calls this spring snowstorm historic. As Becky Farr reports, it's jogging the memories of many who recall a similar event back in April 1997.
I'm glad you're there and I'm here in the comfort of my home this time.
25 years ago, Teresa Johnson was the program director at a radio station that was located in the same building as KX News on South Broadway near what's now Home Depot in Minot. Chief meteorologist Tom Schrader had recently moved to North Dakota.
I had a big four-wheel drive truck. I just came from Alaska, no big deal.
It turns out it was a big deal, and people like Tom and Teresa had to get to work to keep the public informed.
They actually came and picked us up on the snowmobile, took us to the station, and then we did 6-hour shifts. And you were on the air for 6 hours, and then you slept for 6 hours.
Tom decided to drive to work. He says he drove in the wrong lane and into a snowbank, but he made it.
So then I start walking. I have to crawl behind different cars just to get out of the wind. It took me 45 minutes to cross the Minot Chrysler parking lot to get to the front door. I pound on the front door, but everybody's in the back. And I didn't know that. I'm a new employee. I'd only been here a couple weeks. So I walk around to the side, pound on the door. I'm sweating. I go in. There's ice all over me. I fall down from exhaustion. And the sports guy walks in and goes, "He's going to die." True story.
Outside of Minot, conditions were pretty similar.
And I just thought it would blow over. Well, lo and behold, it came to be Saturday night and then Sunday morning. And in all the years I've lived up here, I've never seen that much snow.
Lori Solon tells me Lake Metagoshi was slammed with snow. Her husband was already working out of town before it hit.
By Monday morning, I was glad to see the sun. I called my husband. I said, "You need to get up here. We need to get out. I need to get to work. These kids are driving me nuts."
While that situation may be what some are experiencing now, just like it was then, it'll be something to remember.
And part of it is that 97 blizzard, snow rate was like 1 to 1.5 inches an hour. There were times yesterday it was 2 to 3 inches an hour. That's crazy.
In Minot, Becky Farr, KX News.
Well, Tom, we're glad you survived and you're still with us. And viewers have been sending KX News messages about another big storm in 1984. People recall the snow piles being so high they could walk right up to their rooftops. Tom Schrader will have more about that snowstorm for you a little later on in our newscast. Coming up on KX News at 6, we continue our live team coverage by checking in on Alicia Huck as she attempts to shovel her way out of the mess outside. And the domestic violence crisis line continues to be available for those in need, how they're helping out despite the snowstorm. Plus, many of us are wondering when all of this will come to an end. Chief Meteorologist Tom Schrader will be back in just a bit to give us an update.
You're watching KX News, putting North Dakota first.
Many people are digging themselves out on day 2 of this snowstorm. Alicia Huck is standing by to show us how it's looking outside and how to dig yourself out the right way. Hi, Alicia.
Yeah, that's right. We got the National Weather Service has dubbed this Winter Storm Silas, and it is packing quite a punch here. The wind has picked up a little bit here. A lot of us, we're going to have a lot of snow to shovel, obviously. So I wanted to talk a little bit about using a shovel the proper way. Obviously, let's use our legs. You bend, you lift, and you lift with your legs. You don't want to hurt your back. You give the chiropractors a lot of business. And so also you want to switch from one hand to the other so that you're not twisting the same way the entire time. So just a couple little pointers there. And if you are fortunate enough to have a snow blower, my husband dabbles in that a little bit, so I happen to have a little bit, just make sure that you go slowly so you're not overfilling that auger. Let the auger do its work slowly. Start it at a lower level there. So that's just a couple pointers there. You don't want to break any pins also, just hitting any ice or rocks. So just a couple little pointers there from from me. And it's cold out here, so I think, Brooke, I'm just going to relax a little bit, and I think I'm just going to make a snow angel. So see ya.
You take it easy out there, Alicia. And I will say, Pat will be so appreciative if you dig his car out of all that snow. Have fun, Alicia. Looks like a kid out on the playground out there. Here's a preview of what's coming up tonight on News Nation.
Tonight on Dan Abrams Live on News Nation.
It sounded like a major national security threat. Fake agents infiltrating the Secret Service? But apparently, it was not the sophisticated operation many thought. How did everyone get the story so wrong?
Now here's Ashley with a look at Banfield.
Thanks, Dan. Tonight on Banfield, just weeks before the New York City subway shooting, a social media tirade. How did we miss it? Plus, is Sarah Palin ready for a return to D.C.? And the border buses start arriving in the capital. That's tonight on Banfield on News Nation.
You can catch News Nation on cable and satellite stations you see here. Stay tuned. Still to come, their offices are closed, but they're going remote. How they're helping others during this spring blizzard. But coming up first, Chief Meteorologist Tom Schrader breaks it all down for you, what we've seen so far and what's yet to come.
Now, your local weather with the KX News Storm Team.
Well, we're roughly halfway through the blizzard, and boy, it is a big one, of course. Of course, you know that. This is a live shot of Minot. Can't see Highway 83 or Highway 2. I think Highway 2 is right there, but 83 would be somewhere right there. And there's likely going to be a few more inches overnight, especially in the north central. Now, the south central and other areas, maybe 2, 3, 4, 5 inches, something like that. Could be a little bit more than that of the north, especially where the heavy snow sets up. Intense wind that we have right now for some of us will be even stronger tonight around 9 or 10 o'clock. Yeah, believe it or not. No travel advised, and many roads are closed. I'll show you the road report in just a moment. The storm should begin to pull away tomorrow. Now, that's not to say that it's going to be a great day tomorrow, because it won't be. But the snow will be a lot lighter that does fall, and then we're going to be dealing more with the wind and the colder temperatures and stuff. But still, it'll begin to pull away tomorrow, and we're almost guaranteed to have some light snow, but blowing snow at least through Saturday. Here are a few of the snow totals that we had. Glenburn right now, from what I pulled off the chat room from the National Weather Service, at 2 feet. And these are all estimates. You can't really measure this without getting real scientific and getting cores and melting it and things like that. So it's an estimate, but still we're looking at a whole lot of snow right there. And these are about an hour and a half old. Okay, so that means it's still been snowing. Those numbers are likely higher. Here are some others. Velva, Stanton, Logan, Bismarck at 13.8. It might be at 14 now. We'll see when they put out another statement there. But here we are looking at 4 of our KX cams, and it just looks the same. Sustained winds of 40 miles an hour in Williston. Sustained winds, 36 in Minot, 35 in Dickinson, 28 in Bismarck. These are the wind gusts. 44 in Bismarck, but look at, you go head up 83 towards Garrison, 56 mile an hour wind gusts recorded, over 50 in Minot. Look at these, and it was 60 a little while ago in Hettinger. Right now it looks like 58, so this is incredibly bad. I made the wind arrows black just so you could see them easier. Look where the center of the storm is, right here. And this is where that dry slot is. But look at that right there. All these blue colors, the dark blues, that's heavy snow, but the heavier snow is in the brown. And so the north central is going to continue to get snow. Again, could be several inches. Now it looks like here that the snow is done for Williston because the radar beam comes from Deering. It's over the top of a lot of the clouds and you can't see it. But the North Dakota Atmospheric Resource Board has a Williams County radar, and so I looked at that, made a snapshot of it. So it's a few minutes old. It's kind of moving this way, but it's snowing. It's just not real heavy. That's one way of looking at it. The other is I can look at the cam we have, right? It's still snowing. There it is, 40 mile an hour wind. And if you head south from Williston, looks like it's not snowing here. Same thing, radar beam's pretty high, but it's coming from Bismarck. So the Atmospheric Resource Board has a Bowman radar. And so this is moving more northerly, maybe a little bit north, wind coming from the northwest, but a little heavier snow around Bowman right now. And there it is. You can't even see past this little hill in Bowman. That's how bad it is. So the road report, all this is no travel advised, but look at all these solid red lines. Even all these state roads closed. Wind gusts tonight at 7, and watch how this kind of expands. Here we are at 7 o'clock. Look how that, it gets all the way up into Canada. This color here, 50 plus. So it is going to get worse before it gets better. And looking at low temperatures tonight, teens and 20s. So it's not going to be terribly cold, but with that wind chills will be around 0 or maybe a little below. Tomorrow, not much warming up going on with the temperatures tomorrow. And looking at the Bismarck 7-day, look at these temperatures here. It is going to be a slow melt. And you know, Brooke, a slow melt is just what the doctor ordered because there's a lot of problems today. We've got power outages, you know, ranchers, there's calving season, there's a lot of things bad. But this snow melting slowly, that's a good thing.
Certainly, at least there is a plus to this severe weather. Thank you so much, Tom. Coming up next, how crisis services are continuing through the blizzard.
You're watching KX News, putting North Dakota first.
One organization is offering its services remotely during this spring snowstorm to help those who may not be in a good situation. The Domestic Violence Crisis Center in Minot is closed today, but its online chat and crisis line will be available. According to the executive director, the center receives 120 to 180 crisis line calls and online chats each month. She says these services are useful because it feels isolating when you feel like you have no help, especially during stormy days like today.
You can't plan for when an event is going to occur, and we know stressful situations never make a relationship that's unhealthy any better. So we want to make sure that folks have that access as they need it if you're snowed in with somebody that isn't necessarily safe for you to be with.
If you would like to reach out to the DVCCC, head to kxnet.com. Next on KX News, 1984, 1997, now 2022. We check back in with Tom Schrader with a closer look at all these April blizzards. Well, take a look at this right here. It's a look at Edgewood staff members in Minot providing a little entertainment for residents. While the residents ate lunch, they had this view of the staff, and they said it sparked many great memories of growing up in North Dakota. Looks like they're having some fun out there, and reminders of how quick the weather can change. And for more on that, speaking of sparking memories, these past couple of days reminding people of the April blizzard of 1997, but some also reminded of the April blizzard of 1984. So we're going to head on over to Chief Meteorologist Tom Schrader for more on that. Tom?
Yeah, Brooke, I was reading something from Prairie Public Radio because I wasn't here for that blizzard, but it was a huge blizzard that impacted Iowa, Illinois, Minnesota, and of course North Dakota. A big difference with that blizzard, it was like 16 below at one point. Now, the blizzard that we have, as bad as it is, the temperatures likely aren't going to kill you. 16 below plus wind, it'll kill you pretty quickly. But in Fargo, and this is what kind of hits home, in Fargo, 4 people got stuck into an underpass. Trying to wait out the storm. They got stuck, and so they turned on the heater and sat there because they had to stay warm, right? Well, they died of carbon monoxide poisoning. Oh, what a story. They just sat there and went to sleep. I mean, that's just the nicest way of saying it. So if you're not supposed to be driving tonight, but if you do, you get stuck, you have to stay warm. Just make sure if you're going to use the heater, roll down the window a little bit like that. Now, for us, it's going to get worse with the wind tonight, but the storm will start moving out tomorrow.
Thanks so much, Tom. Thank you for watching KX News at 6. Join us again at 9.